Jamie Pollard set to retire this academic year and is just weeks away from experiencing his final football season as Iowa State's Director of Athletics. Before Pollard rides off into the sunset, he sat down with our own Trey Redfield discussing Jimmy Rogers, one of Pollard's recent hires, before fall camp begins on Wednesday.
This is a culture that you've got to really relate to the people. You got to be of the people, and then how you operate once you're here. You know, both Matt Campbell, Fred Hoiberg, TJ Otzelberger, Bill Fenley, you listen to their words. They praise the fans. They go out of their way to make sure that the fans know, we're one of them.
Jimmy Rogers is definitely one of those guys. So I got that sense when he had some choice words about beating the Hawks during Cy-Hawk back in December.
He may regret that he said that, but he said it, so you got to own it.
Now you got to own it, and we're in the season of owning it now. Fall camp is around the corner, and it's now obviously it's the riding into the sunset for you. But since we're on the topic of football, it's the dawn of the new era for this season. Why can Jimmy Rogers be the guy to, I guess, continue the success that Matt Campbell had?
Well, I would say a couple things. First of all, being the head coach of football is a huge leadership responsibility.
Especially at a Power 4.
Well, yeah, but even at any level,
general, right.
Because of just the amount of people you're overseeing. It's so unlike being the head basketball coach. The head basketball coach oversees 5 or 6 people. The football coach oversees 50 staff members, 125 players, right? So there's just a lot of moving parts. Secondly, again, having consistency amongst your staff. Mm-hmm. The bulk of his staff was with him at South Dakota State, at Washington State, and came here. I mean, they were not deer in headlights this winter. They knew exactly what they were walking into. They had just dealt with it a year ago. They had learned, they even commented things that they would do differently this time around than they did even 12 months ago. So I think that their transition was a lot smoother than just maybe what people think on the outside. Yes, we brought in a lot of players because you had to, but I don't think those players were unfamiliar to this coaching staff. Most of them either were at Washington State, South Dakota State, or were individuals that Coach Rogers and his staff recruited when they were at South Dakota State, but didn't get them, but then got them on the second time around at Iowa State. And then thirdly, and I've described Jimmy this way to himself, is that I think he's modestly confident.
Yeah, I like that.
And, he asked me, he goes, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, you're modest. It's clear. You're not coming in saying all these great things you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And that plays really well in this environment.
Sure.
But when people listen to your words, it's painfully obvious you're confident about who you are and what you guys are going to do. And I'm not sitting here to say we're going to go to a bowl game or we're going to win X number of games. But I'm pretty confident that this team will be better than people think, will improve throughout the year. And I think back to Coach Campbell's first year 10 years ago, we only won 3 games.
Right.
But when we got to the 12th game, our fans couldn't wait for game 1 the next year because they had seen how much the team improved throughout the year. And my guess is that's what we're going to experience this fall also.
Pollard told Trey this morning he expects a new AD to be hired by November 1st. Now, if you want to stream Trey's entire conversation with Jamie Pollard, you can do that on We Are Iowa Plus. Just download the app through the QR code on your screen.